You are watching Xirtus.
Graphene. It's going to be the breakthrough new product of the first half of the 21st century.
Yeah, it is.
What's going to save us completely is graphene.
It's a miracle material.
Yeah, the Department of Defense is working with scientists at Rice University to pump stuff out. Graphene. We're right on the precipice, man. Now we just got to hold it together and inspire people.
Yes.
So we flash it with this, we make it into graphene.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Do you think this is what's happening in the sun?
God, bro.
So blessed.
Yeah, so that's going to be really based, obviously. And Kevin came to Texas with Ian and I to shoot that. Donald, it's interesting, is here because Donald was someone that Ian and I tried to basically kidnap to South America at one point. And he's like, I can do the East Coast, I think. I mean, for a while. But we tried to get him down to Chile when we started Senko Labs because Donald and I actually made graphene using a jewelry sonicator and ammonium sulfite, as I recall. Is that right? Long ago.
Yeah.
But
We did electrochemical exfoliation to get like big old flakes out of graphite sheets. And then we used the jewelry cleaner to sonicate them into tiny little particles. We couldn't really figure out what to do with it after that, but we got that far for sure.
That is
well, yeah. Once you got a little bit of graphene going, you know, like that's really, then you got to get the next guy. It's the middle. We're the middleman. All right. Like as long as you have the material science, that's what matters. But Kevin, man, you've been making a lot of documentary stuff. I don't know. I felt like we should maybe, do you want to start with what we've been working on?
Those
or do you want to go
thumbnails,
back?
man. They're like ingrained in my memory.
I feel like, yeah, we got to talk. Okay. So before you even are allowed to talk about yourself, Kevin, Chris has watched a bunch of your stuff. Chris, why don't you like give us a rundown of what you've seen from 6-7 Kevin?
Well, the first thing, the first one I saw was the Vegas one, and with the whole like underground fucking cavernous like sub city where all the like the bums live, and he was following this like one kid. Clearly had no business being on the streets, but you know he was just rocking it, trying to anyway, just getting by as like a tunnel rat. And what was interesting is like, you know, if you really look at like the concerns of these people who often have nothing, a lot of them, they'll get really spiritual about shit. They'll be like, yeah, you know, like sometimes you're too distracted by like middle-class living, but when you're like up there and when you're way down here, it becomes way more prominent. Like demons are real. God is real. God bless. And I'm like, yeah, every fucking time, you know, it's like a near-death experience. Just so consistent.
Yeah, that's what's been powerful for me too. That guy in that tunnel, we recorded a ghost in that tunnel. No, like we have the audio of this ghost woman, and she says, "What are you doing? What are you doing in my tunnel?" Yeah. And it freaked out the whole crew, like everybody that was filming with me. The guys bought a Bible the next day. The guys that were in the crew that weren't Christian. No joke, because it's like you hear the audio, and every voice in that tunnel had the resonance of the tunnel, except for her ghost voice.
Yeah.
So it freaked us out. But I mean, I'm telling you, man, these homeless
like
people,
she just peered through?
Right. It was as if she talked right into my microphone and there was none of the environmental resonance that affected it.
Yikes.
And another consistent thing also was the drugs. You know, like you seem to really hone in on like, all right, what's the operating substance on these streets? Because like every city does kind of have their own flavor of like a drug economy. But then fentanyl, like once that became like a traceable pattern, you know, things start to look a little fishy.
Yeah, well, and that kind of sparks some of these spiritual experiences for them too. Because if you're strung out on meth for like 10 days and you don't sleep, you start seeing shadow people. You know, dude, there's no joke. Some of these like doing drugs for prolonged periods of time and mixtures of them without eating and things like that will put you into like trippy states where maybe you're engaging with the spirit world in ways that people can't normally. And a lot of times they can't communicate it, or they talk to people and people listening just go, "Oh, that's a crazy person." But I'm one of those people. It's like I will accept anything, but I'm going to look into it. I'm going to ask some questions, you know? So I think they feel that coming off of me where I'm not judging them. I'm like, no, tell me about the demon you saw. Like, cause I might believe you, you know?
I feel that.
So, I mean, so you've done a number of documentaries on a lot of things before Graphene, and one of them was Las Vegas, but generally you're interacting a lot with, I don't know, what would you call it? The dregs of society, I guess, because the dregs of the city is kind of
Forgotten, betrothed upon.
Yeah, right. Like you've done like Slab City and all this stuff, right? Like what's your angle?
Yeah, I just got back from Slab City actually.
Nice.
My kind of angle on it was like I sort of relate to these people because a lot of the interviews that I get, they kind of say, I want to put my middle finger up to society and basically party on the streets instead of pay rent and deal with taxes and try to do the whole, you know, cycle. And part of me is like, yeah, I mean, screw the system, you know, but when you take that route, it just doesn't go into a good place partying on the streets. And I came from a place of making music videos, so I was kind of promoting drug use, you know, scantily clad women, all these kinds of things. I became a Christian, and then I was like, I should probably use these talents for something more meaningful. And then my buddy was always going out and interacting with the homeless, so I was like, take me with you. And then I started meeting these people, and I was like, oh, these are like every person was a story of their own. And so then I was just like, why am I writing scripts and like setting up film scenes when there's literal stories right out my front door? And I just need to ask these people about it. And they would open up their lives. And some of these people would be in tears after like 2-hour long conversations because they're like, nobody has listened to me for years. You're the first person that's truly listened to me for years. So I've just had some of the most like cathartic, you know, like hugs and loving, you know, moments and things like that. So it's been like a really rewarding experience at the same time.
I think there's like a strength to your formula where it's like, instead of diving too deep in one specific city, you function more of as like a generalist where like, let's get the general touch, you know, the kind of like have our finger on the pulse of every city. Cause then you could kind of observe like patterns easier, like consistent patterns throughout all of them. And I thought that was fascinating because anyone could be a specialist now. Like if one of these cities really interests you that much, yeah, go ahead, deep dive on it. But for the rest of us, it's like, yeah, on to Sacramento, on to Reno, on to Austin.
Yeah, well, I think that's what kind of fascinated people too, because it was a look at the dark side of America's cities, and nobody was really doing generalized looks at the dark side of those cities. And people were curious about it, and obviously they didn't want to experience it themselves, so they're like, send in 6'7" Kevin and I'm down. You know,
I love that because people really often kind of tend to forget, you know, when they're in their daily lives, their jobs, their grind, that these people are literally just as much human beings and have the same kind of intelligence, the same, you know what I mean? Like they're going to have observation and stories. You see what I'm saying? Like it's really cool.
Eugenics versus behaviorism for sure. There's a lot of people out there that the only reason that they're not treated like the only reason they're not the elite is because they're not treated like the elite. The only reason the elite are doing better than them is because they're treated better than them. You know, I mean, obviously,
exalted.
Yeah. If you exactly exalted, a lot of people. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying some of the meek in society and the most humble, I guess you will, they're the most wise. I found wisdom that's like, what? Did that just come from a person on the streets and they just dropped a line of wisdom? Yeah.
Well, I was going to say that when we were in Austin, so we went to Austin, Texas to do this graphene documentary, and then there was like TSA strikes. So I hung around for a couple days, and you know, Kevin had to interview I think he was a congressman, is that right? The dude who was talking about like the cow disease.
Yeah, Eamon Valeri's a Texas policy writer, former Border Patrol agent.
Right, policy writer. So it was interesting because I feel like he had the same reaction as some of the homeless people. Like, nobody's listening to me. So like you can actually scale that in a pretty good way where you're getting the story out about things that people really should care about or be worried about how it's going to eventually affect them. So many people are several moats behind care that they think, well, this isn't going to affect my life. Not realizing that it's not, I mean, imagine how quickly you could end up on the street or your entire society could collapse more generally around something, right? I mean, that's That's what America's like today. It's really precarious. I feel like we're in a really precarious place right before the crash of 2029, you know?
Well, and we're watching the slow crumble. So I've been documenting the crumble of this empire. You know, I've been trying to show that as it's happening because I feel like so many people have blinders on. They're like, well, my house value's good. You know, my stocks are going up. But it's like, no, look outside. There's people living in tents. And there's never been more than ever, you know?